Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Diego Dario. And in tonight's game plan, we'll go from the latest in the NBA to the country's ice hockey team and our top UAAP storylines.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. The UAAP women's volleyball ended the weekend with a bang as the UST Golden Tigresses erased what could have been a sweep by the DLSU'S Green Archers. Now, joining us to discuss that game and the other matches that brought the fans to their feet is UAAP analyst Jamie La Victoria. Jamie, how are you doing?
Hey,
Good.
Jamie.
Going well.
I sense the fear in your presence right now because we're going to go ask the hard questions here. Let's talk first about the game that really captured everyone's imaginations, which was LaSalle against UST. Because UST able to prevent the season sweep from LaSalle. What stood out for you the most? How did they do it?
For some reason, every time UST goes up against LaSalle, they just perform way better than their usual games. And I always say this, and Aya Laure finally has help. Right? You have Gerardo in there, you have Malena, and for them to score over 18 points, that just goes to show their fight and their grit after each point.
And when you watch UST play, when you talk about them, you know, people calling them the streak busters because they also ended the NU streak
That's right.
that they had earlier this season. But when you talk about this UST team, with the way they, you know, play with energy, how do you think they're gonna go all the way to the Final Four if they make it, especially now we're in the second round?
Well, it's not always how you start, but how you finish.
Right.
And I think they're peaking at the right time. They had a few losses in the first round, but I think those losses helped them learn, and those losses helped them break those bad habits that they're now carrying to the second round.
So let's see whether or not they can sustain this this sort of peak, and let's see if they can maintain that all the way to when the games matter more. But going to LaSalle, losing the streak, obviously, we now have to discover how they bounce back from losses. Angel Canino was the only player to finish in double digits with 13. Jolina De La Cruz with only 8 points. You take a look at this. We've heard stories about them not stopping training or continuing to train more
That's
and
right.
more. How do you think they're going to react from this?
Well, it is their first loss, so they do have to go back to the drawing board. And this kind of reminds me back to when people were, the other teams were beating NU in their first round. So they have to be reminded that people are out to get them, right? Because they want to break that streak, and this is the more that LaSalle needs to work harder in training.
And quickly, just as an analyst, Jamie, what did LaSalle not do against that offensive firepower in UST?
Well, the last 3 games of LaSalle, both of them were against NU and FEU, and their offense is much faster compared to UST's. Not saying that UST's is slower, I'm saying it's because their style is different. So UST's offense, they go with the high ball set. So the timing of their block was off. They were actually too early, or they were not able to close it properly. So Malena and Aya were able to power through in between the block.
You see, this is why you shouldn't be scared of all our questions because you got all the answers here. But you take a look.
A+ so far.
A+ so far. So let's take a look at so we mentioned NU a while ago. Let's take a look at NU's win. They got back into the win column, beating UP. And again, it was relatively close. You take a look at the set scores here, but NU, you have to feel good about finally getting back on the win column after suffering their first loss.
That's right. I mean, the past 2 games have been difficult for them because it's both from LaSalle. So they needed this win to boost their morale and their confidence, because I'm sure, you know, they're also questioning their skills at this point, but I know if they dig deep, they'll be able to prevail.
And there's a second loss, by the way, talking about the NU, but they're able to bounce back, especially into the win column. But then you take a look at Bella Belen, 19 points, 18 attacks.
Right.
It's just great to see her back at it, really.
That's right. She is their go-to spiker, and the way she plays is she is the rookie of the year from last year, so do expect her to bring her A game all the time.
Now from NU, we go to Adamson. They've been very, very consistent. I mean, they've been the dark horses. They've been tagged as the dark horse before the season, but now they're one of the contenders because they've been playing very consistent. Let's talk about the three players that have been standing out for them: Trisha Tubu, Kate Santiago, and Louie Romero, an excellent setter for Adamson.
The connection that Romero has with their spikers, she, of all the qualities it takes to be a good setter, she really has it all. And the consistency and the accuracy of her sets, it's actually giving the spikers that hitting point, which allows them to have one block and sometimes no block.
5.13 excellent sets, talking about Louie Romero, and had 18 excellent sets in their last game. Take a look at the combination of Tubu, who had 17 points a game, number 3 in scoring, Kate Santiago, number 7 in scoring as well. You take a look at Adamson, we're always saying the favorites are going to be, right now, LaSalle, NU. You take a look at them potentially upsetting any of them in Final Four situation. Do you think that they do have the tools to do it?
They do. I think they're slowly creeping in, and they're the type to play simple volleyball, nothing too flashy. They just get the job done, and that's why they're slowly becoming the favorite as well.
Right, and Jamie, you've had the chance to play against the system of Coach Jerry and Adamson. And what are they doing very well? Because if you take a look at their team, no legit star players where it's just a one go-to player. They just spread that wealth around the team.
That's right. Well, what I noticed when I got a chance to cover their games during the timeout, Coach Jerry is a man of a few words. Because he's the type to, you should know what to do when you're in training, right? So by the time the game starts, you need to know what you're doing. And his style is very strict. They seem very disciplined, and they really put themselves at high expectations.
Again, a lot of interesting developments in the UAAP women's volleyball, of course. With all the teams suffering losses right now, we're going to have a Final Four.
It's going to be very exciting.
It's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a race to those number 3 and 4 positions in particular. So let's see who gets it. Jamie, really appreciate you being here. And don't worry, we can have you for longer on the show next time around.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jamie. And after the break, we'll find out how the national ice hockey team made history in the World Championships in Mongolia. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
Manny, no. Manville just sounds great, right? No, like, how Manny is it? Billones.
How do you pronounce Gian Petre? Is it Petre?
Like that.
How?
GP.
No, but I gotta say your real name in the...
Gian Pietro.
Gian Pietro.
Just pretend you're really Italian.
Gian Pietro.
Gian Pietro.
Giuseppe.
Yeah.
Gian
Ito yun. Ito yung order.
Gian
Yan, pag ganyan.
Pagkatatanungin, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Pagtatanungin daw.
Siguro mahirapan tayo kay Carl.
Gian Pietro.
Montano?
Gian Pietro. Okay.
Siyempre, 7
Only Mongolia? Really? Alright. No, just look at us. If ever you wanna make a point and talk to the camera, that's yours. Number 3. Alright. If you have a hot take. Happened. If you have a hot take, how can they? They're nice.
No hot. That's facts. I'm about to say they're gonna be on fire on the ice.
How old are you? 29. All right.
Welcome back. You're watching The Game. The Philippine ice hockey team is bringing the heat on the ice after winning a historic title at the 2023 International Ice Hockey Federation World Championship in Mongolia. To tell us more about this, we have national ice hockey team members Captain Manville Billones, Gian Pietro Isepi, and Carl Montano. Guys, congratulations for making history once again.
Sir, thank you.
All right, let's start it off with Manny. Is that right? The nicknames, right?
I like Manville though.
Manville, okay. Let's start it off with Manville. Congratulations again for winning the gold. I mean, in your debut, how special is this for the sport in the country and for your group as well?
I think it was definitely an emotional one because we've been wanting this for so long. Due to the pandemic, we didn't participate last year. So we came out hungrier and we worked hard for this.
How was that preparation like for you guys? I mean, during the pandemic, long time coming for before the debut.
It was a lot of off-ice stuff because of the pandemic. So once we got the rink back, what was that, March?
March, yeah.
Yeah, that's when we had to grind it out, try to train as much as possible. But it's also like a mental game too because we haven't practiced for so long.
Are you asking us how fat we got during the pandemic? Is that what you're asking?
Not really,
We're
but, you
going
know,
towards
everyone
that.
probably.
We wanted to avoid it, but if you want to talk about it, go ahead. But speaking of the tournament that you guys went through, for those who don't know, they are promoted right now from Division 4 to Division 3B. So the way that works is that they're now going to progress to competing against tougher and tougher nations. GP, you take a look at your performance in Mongolia in
I
particular.
like GP, by the way.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Well, Gian Pietro sounds very good too. But you take a look at the competition that you had, you dominated all throughout, and it feels like you guys are entering more of a competition that perhaps is more suited for your skill set. How do you think you guys performed personally in the last tournament, and what are you looking forward to for next year?
Yeah, listen, the Mongolia game was a tough one. We had 3-game series. First one was against Indonesia, then Mongolia, then Kuwait. We have another goaltender we play together, and he had shutouts in his 2 games of Kuwait and Indonesia. And our game went into overtime against Mongolia, you know. You've never heard anything like 4,000 screaming Mongolians at your back and going into overtime. So that was hard for us. And I think we were the underdogs in that game, and we came through. I think the right result. And, you know, we sit here today, and the next level for us is going to be teams like Hong Kong, potentially Luxembourg, South Africa, some real heavy hitters. So things are going to have to change. We're going to take it to the next level. It's not going to be easy, but that's why we're here, right?
And how special is that for you guys? I mean, representing the country, bringing the banner of the Philippines and going up against these teams around the world.
I mean, we were talking before, right?
Right.
We learned to skate in Mega Mall and South Mall and this
Right.
and that, you know, when we were young. So it's a big deal for us. It's a big deal for us to represent the country and to make the sport bigger in this country.
Carl, nag-usap tayo kanina. We talked about how your coach that you had right now actually used to coach Thailand.
Yes,
You're trying to get better, trying to develop more. How big is it that you have that coach coming in? And of course, I want to say his name properly. I'll let you do it instead. Again, a Finnish name. But can you tell us a bit more about your preparations and being able to work with him?
Well, with Coach Juhani, he came in around October, and he took the reins on the team pretty fast. We started off practicing 2 or 3 times a week to end up being 4 times a week, and he just really got us from a raw style of game to a more organized game. So just like we were saying earlier, is the way we play hockey is like organized chaos.
It's organized chaos.
We have a lot of guys on our team that are full head of steam, always want to go in full bore, but they always have to be drawn in to play a system, play a proper style of hockey.
That's really interesting. Could you describe how these two play then?
Yeah, please, I'd love to hear this, Carl, please.
Like we were saying earlier, Manny's a defenseman now, but he's more like a fourth forward on our offense. So we have a lot of strong offense on our team, and it showed in the tournament. Like putting up 20 plus 29 points in the tournament, and really scoring a lot. But defensively, GP and Spa are the backbones of our team.
Right.
They're our number 1 and number 2 goalies. So without them back there, it's not a lot of, like, it puts so much more confidence in our team to go ahead and try to score more goals because we know they got our backs.
Right. And of course, for the Filipino fans watching, could you explain to us, you know, how the preparations work for hockey? I mean, how do you guys train? I mean, we're not really, you know, a hockey country, but, you know, how do you guys make it work in the Philippines, Carl?
Well, it all starts off with basic skating.
Right.
Once you get the basic skating down, the game comes naturally. Right? You get the stick in your hand and play in a team, and then get the feel for the game. And then once you get the organized coaches and organized coaching with the club teams and the federation, then it becomes more rounded.
Right.
And then a lot of players fall in love with the game more than anything because it's one of those games that it's hard to master.
Yeah.
But once you get it, it's like never ending learning, never ending stop.
Manny, we're taking a look at some of the pictures there from Mongolia, and of course, some of the accolades that you guys got. You take a look at what the next level is for Philippine hockey. How do you get there, and what can we expect from your group?
It's the same process. Always train harder every time. Keep that positive mentality every time because we're going to be facing tougher competition. We know we have talented players, and we know we can play to the higher level. So.
Well, gentlemen, we're excited to see you play at a higher level, and of course, just so everyone can see, could we get a little zoom in on that gold medal that they're all wearing?
see
here?
that.
That's what they're fighting for. That's what they want to get next time around as well as they try to climb up the ranks and get promoted up the international stage. Gentlemen, again, congratulations, and we can't wait to see
Thank you.
what's up next for you guys.
Thanks.
Congrats,
Appreciate
guys.
the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After the break, we'll break down the latest action in the NBA regular season. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
you guys.
Thank you.
Congrats again.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Kamusta niyo ako kay Miguel? What are you talking about?
Lakers. Of course they're gonna beat the Rockets. Then they're gonna beat the Jazz twice. Then they're gonna lose to the Suns. And then they're gonna... What's their last game? Who? They have...
Who, the Mavs?
No, the Lakers.
Let's check the schedule.
They have twice. Suns once. Memphis? I think they have Memphis. The question is here, where does healthy AD rank among
Jazz.
Jazz
Lakers,
twice. Jazz twice. Then
Clippers.
Clippers. Have a Clippers game?
Yeah.
So it's Lakers, Clippers, Jazz. Jazz, Clippers, Jazz, Suns. Welcome back. You're watching The Game. There's 1 week left in the NBA regular season, and the race to the playoffs is coming down to the wire. Now, with us to talk about today's crucial games is NBA Philippines All-Star analyst Diego Dario. Diego, let's be honest here. Our director, our writer, our floor director
Everyone.
are all Lakers fans, kaya sila yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Of course, the Lakers defeating the Rockets for their third straight win, 6 win in 7 games, 131-109. Anthony Davis having a great game, 40 points. So let's just put it this way and leave it straight. They're now 7th seed.
Right.
Big chance to make it to the playoffs outright. Play in, right now it's a question if they're going to be in a play-in or they're going to make it straight up to the playoffs. Question is, healthy Anthony Davis, it feels like we haven't seen him for forever. Where does he rank in your mind and how can he elevate this Lakers team?
I think if Anthony Davis is healthy with all the other stars that they have in LeBron James and D'Angelo Russell, the Lakers are going to look scary in the playoffs, especially now. The 5th team all the way to the 8th team in the West all have 38 losses. So anything can happen. As you mentioned, the Lakers can still make it to the outright playoffs, but it's really going to be exciting. Usually it's calm before the storm at this point of the season, but it's definitely not calm as we go into the play-in. So I think the play-in is very good for the NBA.
No Lakers fan I know is calm.
Right.
Based on the standings and based on their up and down
We're
fortunes.
doing up against your Jazz, though.
We are not great.
Okay,
So
okay.
let us move on and talk about the Denver Nuggets as we see that. Look, they even, the Jazz are number 12. They intentionally took out the 12th spot. They put in the 11th one. They took out
Just
the 12th
the Jazz,
spot.
they have no chance now to
No,
make it to the playoffs.
No, that's not how it works. Anyway, you talk about the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets, 112. 112 to 110 in favor of them against the Warriors. No Jokic, but they still got the win. You take a look at the Warriors. Are you worried about the Warriors? And of course, are we sleeping a bit on Denver?
I don't think we're worried about the Warriors because, you know, they're a championship team. They're currently at the 6th spot right now, so no play-in for them. No Wiggins so far, but their road performance has been the question mark this season. Now for Denver, they're the #1 team. No Jokic, but still defeated the Golden State Warriors. And what does that say about their team? Even without their main guy in Jokic, their system is there, their coach is there, and their culture of winning is going to be there. And it's going to be a question mark if that's going to bring in all the way at the end of the playoffs.
Of course, you can catch the games on NBA TV Philippines TV5 and on One Sports. Again, a lot more to discuss when it comes to the playoff picture. But Jegs, thanks for breaking down for us.
And that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Diego Dario.
And I'm Paulo De Rosario. This has been The Game.